Hey crafty friends, this is Chelsea. Welcome to today's video. I am so excited to be joining Janice for another Christmas tag collaboration. Today I'm going to be showing you this really beautiful monogram tag that uses gift wrap. I thought it'd be awesome to have tags that perfectly match your wrapping paper. I'm also using the current Deck the Halls special from Close to My Heart. This is the Flourish ornaments in gold glitter. There is 3 different styles. There's several different colors of glitter paper. There's craft paper, black paperboard. There's even wood ornaments. So you could go all kinds of directions with this. And Janice is going to show you a completely different version. But these are the ones that I picked up. I just loved the gold glitter and I knew that it would go with my tree. So you could use these like ornaments, definitely, but I decided to use them as gift tags. So my wrapping paper is from Costco. This was a 3-pack and I got it this year, so you might be able to still find it. But I liked it because it matches the colors I was going for and it's also double-sided. So there are some different pattern options. I would say that the 3 that are facing out are definitely my favorite, but I will show you the other patterns as well. You could use whichever patterns you have, and I think that's another really nice thing about choosing a neutral like either gold or silver. Then you can more easily match your paper if it's in all different colors. I'm just going to clear this away and then we will get started. So first off, when you buy the Flourish ornaments or any of these Deck the Halls ornaments, they come on the sheet like this. You could definitely use your punches or small dies and use up the rest of this extra area or cut little strips or whatever you want to utilize that. But these are laser cut pieces, so they pop right out. There's no little like hanging things off of there. They're nice and smooth. There are ornament toppers. Most of mine, I didn't use them. I am going to use it on one style of ornaments and I will show you that. But the fun thing is with these, whether you buy just one set or you buy a bundle, doesn't matter. You get SVGs. So you can use those with your digital cutting machines like Cricut and Silhouette, anything that can use an SVG file, which means you can cut out paper to match that exact shape. And when you bring them into Cricut Design Space, they come in at the right size. So in the pack, you get the solid ornaments, and then you get like this beautiful, detailed kind of filigree design. So I wanted to come up with a way to use both of these, but not on the same ornament because it's a lot glitter on glitter, and you kind of lose the effect of how beautiful this is. Plus, like I said, I wanted to use my wrapping paper so that I have gift tags that I know will perfectly match my wrapping. And I think monograms are so fun because then you can easily see who in your family they are going to. Okay, so for this style of tag, that's the one I'm going to show you first. Just move these out of the way. What I've done is I cut just one of the solid ornaments out of White Daisy cardstock, and then I cut one out of the wrapping paper. Now, I'm not sure how this will work with all kinds of wrapping paper. The Costco wrapping paper, I mean, there are thicker papers out there. This is by no means like the super thick, like luscious paper, but it's not super thin and rippable either. It's kind of a middle of the road wrapping paper. So you'll have to test it out with yours. And when I cut this on the Cricut, I used the parchment paper setting and that cut perfectly. It wasn't too much pressure. I didn't increase the pressure or reduce the pressure, just chose parchment paper from the custom materials menu. And then this one was already die cut in the pack. And then I cut 3 more of those on white and I glued them together just to give myself some thickness. You could skip this if you wanted to. You could just put these together and put this right over top to make it faster and easier, especially if you're doing it with like kids or something. But I liked the idea of having some height there and creating some depth on the tag. So I just used glue on here and stuck them all together. One thing that I thought was interesting, when I cut them out, they actually came up with this side being up, but that doesn't match these. So you have to flip them over to the other side. So if that matters when you're cutting, you might want to flip your paper before you cut it. Just select the mirror your paper, mirror your cardstock before you start cutting out. because it comes out this side face up, which doesn't match that design. All right, so these are gonna get glued together like that. And then my daughter's name is Isabella, so I chose a font. It is called Academy Engraved, LET. It was in my system fonts, so I'm not exactly sure where I got it from. I do download fonts semi-regularly from like Creative Fabrica. I have a couple from dafont.com. So I can't tell you exactly if that's like one that came on my computer or not, but it is not a Cricut font. I was looking for something that was a little bit more classic and was thick enough and like bold enough, because you can see on this K, things got pretty skinny in there. So I cut that out 3 times of white and then once out of red glitter paper. This is a retired red color. It's a very bright red, not the scarlet red that Close to My Heart currently has. Now I was thinking about how to adhere this. I didn't want to take just like a bottle of glue and have a bead of glue. I think spreading out your glue is a better idea. But what I thought was interesting that also really worked well was I stole my daughter's glue stick. She actually called me on it too. She's like, "Mom, you have my glue stick." Yes, I do. It works perfect for this. So I'm gonna do that first and get this onto here. Just gonna spread out my all-purpose mat. It's a great surface to work on for gluing. Nothing will stick permanently to it, so you don't have to worry if you're getting glue all over the place. So I want this side to be up. This is the back side of it, but I didn't like the way the letters looked underneath all the fancy design, so I'm gonna do it this way. And I was thinking about if I should put it on the back of this or this. I think I'm gonna put it on here. I can't remember what I did before, so I'm going to use plenty of glue. This isn't maybe the best adhering glue. It's just a cheap glue stick, but we will try it out. And because this paper is so thin, I think it's the best way not to get this all wrinkly and have like lines of glue showing. Because sometimes if you use liquid glue and you don't get it smooth enough, you'll actually see the ridges of glue underneath. So I'm just going to readjust there. I'm going to start at one end, and I'm just going to wipe off my fingers with a baby wipe so I'm not transferring glue all over the place. All right, and then I'm going to smooth this down. You could even take a bone folder and smooth that down. I just basically don't want to have any wrinkles. If it's not 100%, it's no big deal because this is our back layer. We are going to be putting these on top of it. So I'm going to sit that there, let it dry. I'm going to wipe up my little glue mask that I have here. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my Barely Art glue for this one. So again, I'm going to put my glue on the white area here. Okay, there we go. And I just put a thin line all over. I did try to move fairly fast so that I didn't have to worry about it setting on me. And I'm just going to put it on and then slide it around and just trying to push it in with my fingers and line it up as good as I can get it. Sometimes stacking die cuts can be a little bit tricky trying to get them placed correctly, but I love the finished look of it. Then once you're happy with where you got it, go ahead and push it into place. I'm going to put that heavy block on top of it. That's one thing I like about using liquid glue. You do have a little bit of play time to kind of slide it around and try and get it in the right spot where you want it. Now, if I was doing a whole bunch of these at one time, of course, I would be doing all the steps at once. So I would do all my backgrounds, do all my stacking, all those pieces. Just keep doing the same steps at the same time. I usually find it goes faster. And then we are just going to stick that on there. So this time I'm going to put the glue on the back of here because I don't want glue just all over the place on there. And you don't have to get every single little area. The important thing is just you get pretty good coverage. I don't want to take too long because I don't want my glue to start drying on me. Of course, the most important thing is that I get the outside with a good little bead of glue. I love this Barely Art glue for how little actually comes out. It makes doing these tiny little areas easier for sure. All right, that's pretty good. I'm just gonna put my pin back in my glue so it doesn't start drying. And same thing, I'm gonna start by lining up that top part, and then if I get that pretty lined up, the rest should line up pretty well. Just make sure I'm happy with that, and then I will push it down into place. And I'll put a heavy block on there to weigh it down. And then we are going to stick our little eye on there. I'll just stick that right in the middle. All right, and I'll put that back on there. Now I dug into my ribbon stash. I don't use a lot of ribbon anymore, but I did find this black and gold. The gold is a little bit warmer. The ornaments are more like a champagne kind of gold, but I think it should be okay. And then I have my little bow tying jig. My friend's husband made these. It's just a block of wood with holes drilled in the top, and you can choose how far apart they are, depends how far your loop is. And I just put my ribbon around it. Hopefully I cut it long enough. And, oh, it's gonna be close. Being a little too stingy with the ribbon, I think. Let's see, I'll go over. I always forget which one is supposed to go over the other one. Which one goes over and under? Basically, you just knot it. Try and put your knot in the middle if you can, so that you get even loops on your bow. And you pull it off the top. There's our little bow. This ribbon is quite rigid, so it's maybe not the most ideal for tying bows, but I think it'll be okay. Then I'll just cut my ends. And I'm going to use a glue dot to attach this. You could add more liquid glue and then set the block back on top. That would work just fine as well. I'm just going to put my glue dot on there. And then put that up here. And then to hang this, I'm just going to use a little bit. I have this DMC gold thread. Again, if I had it in my stash, I would grab a different gold. This is more of a yellow gold, but that's okay. We're just going to go ahead and use that. I just need a little something that I can use to like tie it onto bags and things. And actually what I'm going to do is double it up here because I want the ends to be tieable. So I'll just poke it through that hole. Now on the back, you could write a little message if you want to. And there is my tag. So this is that first style. I love how beautiful this is. With the foil paper behind it is really wow too. But I think they both look really pretty. All right, so for the next style, I wanted to use the solid ornament. So in the same set, we have a solid ornament. And so I was thinking of how to use the same sort of idea, but with this style. And what I decided to do was cut a 3-inch circle on my Cricut, and then I sliced the letters out of the center of that. The easiest way to do it is to make one and then just duplicate it. And then I made another one of those, and I cut it out of the pattern paper, again using the parchment paper setting for this one. And this is going to go over top. So I made it a little bit smaller on purpose because I wanted a border of the gold around the outside, and then again the gold coming through the letter. So I am going to use glue stick again on here. Just try and use a glue that isn't super wet and is going to wrinkle this light paper. You might want to do a little like test spot. Do like a little test with your wrapping paper and your glue on a scrap piece before you actually use it on like good piece that you spent time Cricut cutting. Now you can see there's a slight bit of the pattern behind it showing through. This one didn't matter because it has the gold overlay, but this one I can see a little bit of those letters showing through. I don't think my daughter will mind though. But keep that in mind when you're picking your papers if they are transparent at all. So then what we got to do is stick that on there. And I think I'm going to use my Barely Art glue and maybe put it on just a little bit thicker. And then I'm going to weigh it down while it dries so that hopefully it will adhere to that glitter paper. You could always use glue dots, but that's a lot of glue dots. And those things are not cheap. So if you wanted to make very many of them, you probably wouldn't want to use all your glue dots on that. So now I'm going to try and get the eye straight and also get this centered. And I'm just going to weigh that down. I am going to finish this off the exact same way with the bow and the thread, but we'll just slide that up there for a minute while it is setting. And I'm going to show you my third idea. So I wanted to get full use out of these pieces, and I didn't want to leave these little gold pieces unused. So this was one of the papers from my wrapping paper set. It has this beautiful pattern on the back, which would work really well for this as well. But I cut one out of white cardstock, and then I'm going to use this side that has the gold. The gold in this wrapping paper just happens to be that same champagne-y gold as the glitter paper, so they match perfectly. So we're going to stick that together, and then we have a couple of options for on top. So I have a C. That one will be for me. So we can add that to the center if we wanted to. Or if you are making gift tags for like a bunch of people and you don't want to be trying to do monograms, I also wanted to show you this. So this is just out of black cardstock. This is the Merry and Bright die, which is a current die from Close to My Heart. And then this is from the Christmas Wishes die. So no, these do not come in the same set. I did try doing the Merry and Bright, but it was a lot to fit on this one ornament. I think you could do it, but I just thought this looked really fun, the Merry Christmas together. And this is just out of black cardstock, but I think it would look pretty out of a color. Like you could do the red glitter paper if you wanted, black glitter paper, whatever kind of specialty papers you have. I like the contrast of that black against the gold though. I thought that looked really nice. But since I am doing monograms, I'm going to go ahead and use this C. So same thing, I'm just going in with my glue stick. Make sure I get right up to the edge. And I'm trying not to push too hard because I don't want to get actually like the clumps of glue that comes off with glue sticks. Honestly, it's been so long since I've used a glue stick. I know some people actually do use them in their scrapbooking, but that has not been my go-to. All right, let's try and get this straight. That looks pretty good. I'm just gonna wipe up the glue so I'm not putting my ornament back down in there. Okay, it's dry. Just give this a good press. You wanna get any air bubbles out from under there. And then we'll use our glue to stick our little topper on. I love how the golds in the paper and in the die cuts work so perfectly together. And there is a big assortment on the website. Under the Decals promotion, I will link it down below so you can have a look in case you're interested in picking these up. And remember, if you get even one pack, you get the free SVGs with it. So then you can go to town cutting things on your Cricut. And if you don't want to use your wrapping paper, definitely you could use your pattern paper for this. Other specialty paper, you could do like a foil paper and emboss it. So many different ways. All right, I'm gonna finish off these two tags with some bows and some thread, and I'll be right back. All right, here are my tags. I love how they turned out. I have a few things to mention. So for this one over here, I used that green pattern again. And when you cut these pieces, save all those letters inside. If you're not using them here, you could use them here. So what I did was I glued them up on top of each other. So there's 3 layers. And then I covered it with the Spectrum Noir metallic paint marker in liquid gold. I love these things. I also did my edges which is a great way if you don't get everything perfectly aligned. You can just take that gold paint pen and go right around the outside, and it gives you the perfect little gold border and hides any whoopsies. Now, speaking of whoopsies, if you find that you've really like messed up the back of your tag, if it got all like sticky from glue or got marks on it while you were working, just cut another tag before you put your twine or whatever at the top, your thread. Just glue a fresh one on the back, and you could even use like tape runner or something for that. So that's a great way to clean up your backs if you do a whole bunch of these at once and you end up with messy ones. It's super easy to cover that up. Now, I did try using the Barely Art glue when I was sticking on this wrapping paper. Not on purpose. I'd meant to use the glue stick, but I wasn't paying attention, and I just went ahead and used that. You can see it's, I don't know if you guys can see, but I can see it's not as perfectly smooth as using the glue stick, but it's close. It's close enough that you could totally get away with it if you find that easier and less messy than using a glue stick. But also, depending on what kind of glue, this glue actually claims not to wrinkle paper. So if you have a very wet glue that tends to wrinkle even like your scrapbooking paper, wrapping paper, I think it would definitely wrinkle it just because it's a lot thinner. And keep in mind, when you're cutting wrapping paper on your Cricut mats, it will really help if you have a Cricut mat that isn't super, super sticky. So don't use a brand new mat. If you have a lower tack mat, go ahead and use that. You just want to actually be able to get it off in one piece. I had a mat that was just perfect for it. It had been used quite a bit, and it was still sticky enough to hold it perfectly, but it wasn't so sticky that I couldn't easily peel it off. I hope you enjoyed this idea of how to use your gift wrap, and make sure you go check out Janice's video. I'm sure she has something beautiful to show you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.